Well, we made it. The entire month of January, we did a show every single day. We had perfect attendance. So now we're starting off February, and we're right back at it again. And look at me down here in the Florida Keys. I even gave you guys a little view. I know it's freezing cold there, and it's not so warm here either. But look, I'm having a great time, and I appreciate all of you guys for being a part of the channel today. A little more lively. Hey, we're going to talk about this. Do the Cubs have enough pitching depth? I think that question's out there. The front office says no. I'm going to agree with them. Should the Cubs extend Ian Happ, or are they going to extend Ian Happ? Austin Hayes, we talked about him yesterday. Yeah, he's off the board, and that's the show for today. So like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell. And again, help me get the 10,000 subscribers. I come and see you guys every single day. Even maybe when I shouldn't, but it's great to see you. Let's go. Oh, that is years of institutional knowledge, my friends. You can't just go buy that in a store. And I've been with the Cubs organization for 20 years, been a Cubs fan for 40, and it is so good to talk to you guys about the Cubs on a daily basis. So thank you for being here. All right, let me start with this. Do the Cubs have enough pitching depth? That's the question that really we're asking ourselves right now. And the front office has kind of already answered that. They don't think we have enough pitching depth. And they are still out there actively searching for more arms, right? Jed Hoyer, Craig Counsell kind of talked about this at Cubs convention. The Athletic did a nice story about it. Our friend Patrick Mooney, one of the best in the business, guy I've known for a long time, love the guy, about basically what the Cubs have right now, and that they don't feel like they have enough pitching. Now, let's think about this. And I read some quotes in the story, and obviously from Jed Hoyer and Craig Counsell, and they're like, they feel like the Cubs actually were lucky last year as far as pitching health goes. Now, it didn't help us with Eli Morgan, who we thought was going to be a contributor, and he ended up getting hurt, or was hurt when we got him. We didn't, nothing from that guy. Now he's with another team. And then Justin Steele, who probably should have had this surgery before last season when we knew it was a possibility, but he was going to try to, basically do other treatments and work through it, and it just didn't help, right? So we lost him. And then after that, Javier Assad was kind of up and down. He wasn't healthy, but Shota Imanaga was there for most of the season. A couple, obviously missed a little time. Same thing with Jameson Tyone. He had the issue, but came back. Matthew Boyd was healthy the entire year. Cade Horton was until the end of the season when we needed him for the postseason, but I thought he should have gotten Rookie of the Year too. It's a whole nother issue. So they go out and they get Edward Cabrera, who's got injury issues. So what do you do from here, right? The question to me is, could they find, and will they find, somebody else that can possibly punch in here and help this rotation? And if you go and sign someone like Zach Gallen, is this hey, we're signing Zach Gallen and we're going to have to trade somebody else to pay for him? Or are the Cubs comfortable enough going over the luxury tax threshold to basically pay, more than what the contract is to get somebody? Or could the Cubs go out there and get some other pitchers? Chris Bassett, is he a guy they think could help out? Lucas Giolito, I don't know about him. Patrick Corbin, Justin Verlander, two guys that you could probably remember because they're veterans and have had big years. But, is there anything left in the tank? And then once you get past those names, what Nick Martinez, I don't know. Zach Gallen to me seems to be the top remaining free agent. And if the Cubs sign Gallen, listen to the penalty that they're going to have to pay. They're going to be docked the draft pick, and they're probably going to be over the salary cap. So not only are they going to have to pay him, they're going to have to pay whatever over the salary cap, unless they figure out a way to work that out, right? which would be the tax, which kind of adds on to, I mean, I know it doesn't necessarily always mean him, but it adds on to what the deal would be worth. And he's gonna, if the Cubs sign him, it's probably not going to be for a long-term deal, right? It's going to be one of these pay a lot short-term deals, which we thought maybe he would get like 4. Looks like he's kind of in the 2 range on a really high 2-year range, right? So I don't know how this is all going to pan out. But the fact that they continue to talk about needing more pitching tells me that they're serious about it and look for something to happen between now and the start of the season. So I think there's some serious smoke here when it comes to what they're going to do next. I look for a move in this area. Could it be another potential trade? They gave up their top prospect to get Edward Cabrera, and that's a big gamble. So now what? I think that's would you give up somebody else? Could a Matt Shaw for a pitcher in a deal? I don't know. But you keep hearing the Matt Shaw and the Nico Horner trade stuff, and that would put you in an area where maybe you're not getting hit with the compensation, the draft compensation. You're not getting hit with the luxury tax if that's a big deal to you. And then Dodgers fans will say, "Hey, we don't care. We got, we pay more tax than a lot of teams' entire payroll, which is bad for the game." Second thing, guys, I read this on Bleacher Nation, and I thought it was just so interesting because are we at that time now where we're starting to think about extending Ian Happ? I mean, I know his WAR wasn't bad, 2.5, 3.5 WAR. I mean, 32 years old. I thought the deal was, I like Ian, but I just not a fan of that deal in the first place. And then to think about them extending him, would you extend him and have the no trade clause removed? Because if I was the Cubs, that's where I would start. And then the other thing with that, and I guess now that they traded away their prized prospect who could have played left field, and Casey, I just felt like that's an easier position to go out and get somebody to play that you don't have to pay as much. And then maybe you put the payroll somewhere else. But then you look at it and you go, you know what, though? He came up with the organization. He's the senior statesman of the team. Never have a problem with the way that he plays the game. I mean, it was just saying, like, he's one of the best defensive left fielders in the game. He's multiple Gold Gloves out there. He actually had some clutch hits last year, but he's very streaky. But when he's hot, he's a really good player, and he's a switch hitter. And then I like the fact that he does a lot for the organization. He's not a guy that's afraid to go out and do a podcast, or you see him, doing charity work and stuff. And I know that doesn't matter about on-field play, but I think it's part of it too. So we'll see. I'm curious though, because the fact that we're talking about this now, I wonder if the Cubs are thinking about potentially really extending him. And then the story was great because it talked about other left fielders and kind of what they got paid. Former Cub Jock Peterson got $20 million 1-year deal from the Giants, or just slightly less than that. Teoscar Hernandez, 3 years, $66 million with the Dodgers, although I would take Hernandez over Happ personally. What would Happ be? Maybe like $40 million. Are you good with that? Do you think that he's going to be productive, 3 years from now? I mean, would you give him 4 years? We're talking about this now. So it's a good job, Bleacher Report. And I don't know. I got a feeling that's going to stir up some debate on here because I had a debate with myself on the show. All right. This was interesting. Yesterday, we talked about a utility outfielder or fourth outfielder guy that could help out and that's Austin Hayes, and now he signed with the White Sox. So he'll be in Chicago. He just won't be with the Cubs. So the White Sox making some moves, trying to make their team more competitive. And he got a $6 million 1-year deal. That seems kind of high. But Miguel Andujar is the guy I know a lot of you want on the Cubs just because he can hit. He's not that good of a defender. Hayes can play a little center field. Andujar really can't. He's kind of an average defender, maybe below average, but he can play some infield. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I want the Cubs to go out there, though, and continue to be aggressive and have that same sense of urgency that they had last offseason so that we get into the regular season and we have a good team. Because without Tucker, you're losing a big chunk of the lineup. Now, you did go out and get Alex Bregman, and it's crazy to see, and it's a lot of Red Sox fans watch now, and they'll comment. It's like, first off, guys, they didn't want Bregman coming our way. So that's a good sign. And you know how it is. Like, there's guys where you're like, well, you got him. Hey, we don't care. Then there's some guys who are like, hey, no, we didn't want to lose that guy. When Greg Maddux left, I mean, I know I'm going old school on you. I was just like, what are we doing? And I can remember that exact day when I was like, why aren't they signing this guy? Yeah. It's one of those deals. I'm not saying that Bregman's, Greg Maddux, but I mean, that was a young Greg Maddux. But I'm just saying that, like, now they're just kind of trying to figure out how they can go out there and make their team better. And if the Cubs end up making a Nico Hoerner trade, I think the Cubs are going to score pretty good because there's a lot of pressure from Red Sox Nation to fix this. They're not happy about losing him. So good for us, bad for them, and we'll see what happens. I don't think the Cubs are trading Nico. I know we talk about it on a daily basis. That's because there's just a lot of smoke out there, and we've got to. But it would really have to be just a really big win trade for the Cubs. I just can't imagine him making a deal, letting Nico go. I think people would much rather be talking about extending Nico than extending Happ. You guys tell me. Maybe I should even put a poll on here. All right, like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thank you for being here again. It was been hanging down here in the Keys. Anybody been here before? There was a place called the Green Parrot. That's where I was when you saw me after the last show. It was hard to do the show, but I had to do it because we are going to try to go as many days as we can without missing. So we've got perfect attendance so far this year. Hey, thank you guys. Love you. And go Cubs. We got some good days coming up. Hey, do you like the new Open? Who likes the new Open? Raise your hand.